Pag-usapan pa natin ang mga kahalagahan ng mga sasabihin ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa kanyang ikatlong SONA.
At kasama na yan ang iyong mga isyu na kanyang kasalukuyang administrasyon. At hihimayin pa natin yan kasama ang political scientist at CEO ng WR Numero Research, Robin Garcia. Robin, good morning.
Good morning,
Maraming
Robin.
salamat. Nagising ka para sa amin.
Thank you very
Alam mo,
much.
buong araw pag-uusapan ito. Bago ang SONA, speculation, anong sasabihin niya. Pagkatapos, hihimayin at
Yes.
i-repasa.
It's a big day.
Pero ito gusto ko unang tanong sa'yo. Bago pa yung kung ano yung laman, pag-usapan natin yung delivery.
Yeah.
Kung papaano sila humaharap sa tao at kung papaano nila linalahat ang kanilang mensahe. Eto
Yeah.
si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, kumpara sa iba, what do you think of his style?
I think he's more diplomatic, he's more presidential compared to others.
Oo.
He speaks well, actually, he's eloquent. And he appeals to the international community more than anyone. I think that's something that we should celebrate. Something that we've seen in the past other SONAs that he's delivered. So, and I think importante yan because yung SONA has that, parang it's a rhetorical practice. It's supposed to shape perceptions, it's supposed to explain past policies. And so eloquence is very important. In the end, it's also a political exercise. By that I mean the goal really is to build legitimacy towards the administration, confidence and hope towards the administration. So there's that objective part of it, which is, I think Bongbong is able to do. But there's also that emotive part of it. And I think President Duterte is did more of that emotive part before. So I think just to answer the question how President Bongbong Marcos is, I think he's more of that medyo objective, he's more clarificatory, he's more eloquent in that sense.
Right. Okay, pero let's pick up from what we heard kanina, Mami Chiki. His ending statement during his SONA last year was, the state of the nation is sound. But picking up from that point up to this point today, they deliver niya yung third SONA, was the state of the nation really sound?
I think it's a mixed record. There's a lot of things that he has to address, and things such as inflation, economic woes. We've seen that it has affected also his approval and support ratings. And then there's a lot of domestic political issues also he has to address. Open questions, for example. But at the same time, I think the foreign policy achievements of the president, cannot be ignored. I think the pivot back to the United States is good. The diversification of alliances towards Canada and Japan, and we've just recently created that sort of agreement with Japan, the Visiting Force Agreement. We're about to create that agreement with Canada as well. So these are all good in light of two things, actually. So foreign policy, in light of the uncertainty in the U.S. elections. We don't talk about that a lot, actually. And also the increased aggression of China. So these are all good.
Tama. Kahit hindi pinapag-usapan, alam naman na nandyan. Yun na nga ang gusto kong tumbukin din. Yung mga sidelight, yung mga hindi tungkol sa mga plano niya, pero yung wala si VP Sara. Eto nga, kagabi lang, yung kay Biden na nag-step down, tapos yung mga usapin tungkol sa Pogo, all of these things. Gaano ba dapat siya in tune sa mga iba pang mga pangyayari?
Yeah, so si President Marcos is really, I expect him to address the political fallout between Vice President Sara and himself. I think Vice President Sara is creating that political space to oppose President Marcos, and especially running up to the 2025 elections. The finding of candidacy is, of course, in a few months. The extent of the opposition of Vice President Sara towards the president is something that we have to look at. But we know that the direction is towards opposing because the former president, her father, and the brothers have already publicly opposed President Marcos. So now there's two opposition groups. Now you have the pink-yellow opposition, and then you have the Duterte opposition. And because of that, and these two very strong groups also, President Marcos will have to contend with that. And I hope kaya niya i-address yan sa SONA later to inspire confidence, to talk to invoke strength, diba? Things like that. That he will have to talk about later.
Just kung ano ka, di ba?
Oo,
Political analyst, dalawang opposition, masarap parang himayin yan at pagbasag,
At
ano mangyayari?
mapapaisip ka talaga, okay, sino dito yung opposition talaga at sino dito yung opposition for political purposes. Minsan yung mga iisipin mo, nabitin tayo, Mami Chiki.
Ay, naku, tapos na ba?
Oo, tapos na eh. Pero marami pa tayo sana pag-uusapan. Pero balik ka sa susunod, Robin. I'm sure marami pa tayo pwedeng pag-usapan in the future again. Maraming salamat. Robin Michael Garcia.
Mga kapatid, Jess De Los Santos po, huwag magpahuli sa mga umaaksyong balita at napapanahong issue sa bansa. Para sa mas malawak na balitaan, mag-subscribe at mag-follow sa social media pages ng News 5.